Well, you can mention that you can in your message so that you can connect the dots. So make them custom, make them personal, do your research, and do this consistently to generate results. Don't be one of those people that comes back to me and says, Michael, this doesn't work because I just reached out to, 6 people and they never come back to me. So do this consistently, and you will be successful. And make sure that your portfolio is up to scratch, is up to their standards. Because again, you can do all the marketing in the world, but if your portfolio, if your website is not top notch, you will just you won't make it. So that's what it is for me.
Well, you mentioned a couple of huge important aspects there, Michael. The first was, if the portfolio is not there, then it's like, oh my gosh, you're why are you even marketing this to begin with? And you've got to start with a brand. So can you talk, and this is a question actually we had on our Q&A from Carl LaRue, asked, happy to be here today. One question I had was, what role and how important does a quality portfolio website play in a photographer's success? Is a good social media presence like Instagram important too? Can you touch on that, Michael?
Yes. So I would highly recommend that you set up your account as a advertising photographer on the or whatever photography, whatever kind of photography you specialize on. You set it up on Facebook, you set it up on Instagram, you set it up on LinkedIn, any platforms that they may check, especially platforms like Instagram. You should be present on there. You should have up-to-date portfolio pieces. Because another thing that happens is that, and we see this all the time with you, Kevin, is that somebody has portfolio, but it's outdated. All the photos from there are like 5, 10, 15 years ago. It looks dated. It looks bad. So at that point, they're just going to see it, because these people work in this industry all the time. Like, you're not trying to, you're not going to weasel your way in here. You have to have an up-to-date portfolio. Because they will see it. Otherwise, they will see it. And you see it all the time as well, Kevin. There are great photographers with outdated portfolios.
Absolutely. So the portfolio is critical. So you've got to have the brand. You got to have the brand. And I think that, obviously the Photography Workshop Series is designed to create award-winning content. And we've seen this over and over again. And you've worked with, I know, dozens of my photographers, and the content. Do you even bother, marketing the other content that they shoot with, or do you pretty much only market the content that they've shot at the Photography Workshop Series because it's so strong and the models are so strong, the production is so high level? Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, are you mostly marketing the content that they shoot from the Photography Workshop Series?
Yes, it is definitely the high level content that you create at the workshop series. Because again, you have to present these people with the best. You got to put your best foot forward. You really have to have the best content out there, send it to them, just like what we're seeing here. And it might just catch their attention. So it's really important.
Absolutely. So these photographers are creating mind-blowing content that they photograph at the Photography Workshop Series, and then they're marketing. You're pretty much just marketing that because you're the one that's the expert. So you're like, okay, of all the content you have, the Photography Workshop Series content is by far the best. So that's the stuff we're going to put forward and get in front of people. And then you're actually generating leads. Now, I know that this has been an issue, and it's just something that I do want to bring up, is that you've talked to me about this. You said, Kevin, I've worked with this photographer. We've developed all these amazing leads, and the photographer doesn't connect the dots between leads and then following up with them. So can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? So if a lead comes in, and how does that look? First of all, how does the lead come in? Is it like, say it's through LinkedIn or something? And then once that lead comes in, what should the photographer do from there?
Yes, 100%. So this is a really important point, is that when you get a lead, when you get somebody reply to you that they're interested in having a conversation, the best key scenario is that you have it on your phone. You have notifications on your phone turned on, that you can see that somebody replied to the message on LinkedIn, or somebody sent you back the email from your email outreach, or somebody texted you back, or whatever platform you're using. The best key scenario is that you have it on your phone, so you can see it. You should get to that lead as soon as possible, back to them, so that you can schedule the meeting, or you can call them and start that conversation. Because before the first meeting, it is critical that you get back to them as quickly as you can. So realistically, I mean, unless they reply at some weird hour, which I don't think, they never reply at outside of business hours, pretty much. They may reply like at 8 a.m. or 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or something like that. But if they reply to you, you should really set up the meeting as soon as you can. And if they say that they're interested, you should really like give them a phone call if you can and start the conversation. Because before the first meeting, they haven't really met you. They haven't really discovered you. You don't have that rapport with them yet. So it's really easy to lose that lead. So if you get a lead that replies to you on Monday and you wait until Thursday to reply back to them to schedule a meeting, that lead is gone. And it's going to be really difficult to get it back. So again, best case scenario is you have notifications on your phone when somebody replies to you from any outreach or something like that, and you just get back to them as quickly as possible. Schedule the meeting or like a phone call to really start that conversation. And it might take quite a few phone calls, and it may email exchanges and texts before they commit to working with you, of course. So you really have to be proactive. And this is something that we see in the creative space all the time, is that we're working on the job and we're not coming back to these leads. And yes, we understand that you're busy, but you also have to remember that leads will go dark if you don't reply to them. And then the efforts are going to go to waste. So you really have to come back to them as soon as you can.
Well, I love that. I'm glad you're mentioning this, because you're talking about one of the most important things is how fast you respond. That is probably one of the most important things, because there's a lot of competition out there, right, Michael? There's a lot of other people that are vying for these opportunities. So if you don't respond immediately, then you might not, land that opportunity, even if you are the best photographer. So I love this. Now, Michael, can you give us some step-by-step process of how they can build up these leads on their own through LinkedIn, for instance? Do you have some strategies for them?
Yeah, exactly. So just like I've talked about it, basically, first step is you put together a prospect list. So with Agency Access or with LinkedIn, you look it up and you look up the titles that you need and the agencies that you need. And it's probably best to focus on in-house people at the agencies, if we're talking about it, because there are two types of creative directors in agencies. There are the freelance creative directors, and then there are full-time staff, people who actually work for those agencies. So you might want to avoid the junior people or like the freelance people, and sometimes you even have to go to their profile and double check, because they might not say it, but you will see it if they're not actually working full-time at the agency. So focus on the right people, find them either through Agency Access or through LinkedIn. Maybe just start really easy. Make the job really easy for yourself. So start a Google Sheet or like a CSV on your computer, Microsoft Office spreadsheet. Put the people, put the names, put the company names in there, their information in that sheet. And then connect with them on LinkedIn, like any post that they have, comment in any post that they have, so they can start seeing your name a little bit. Then from there, once you've done that, then you can start reaching out to them. Now, before you reach out to them, again, do your research, go to their websites, go to the agency's websites, and send them something really specific. Send them a message that they will know that you've done your research, you know who they are, you know what agency they work for, you know their previous experience, all of that stuff. And then just follow up with people, right? So very easy. Make a list, connect with these people on LinkedIn, maybe like their posts, maybe comment on them. And then from there, reach out to them with a personalized message on LinkedIn and email, and follow up with them a couple of times. Obviously, don't follow up every day, but like maybe follow up once a week or a couple of times a week, and you'll be successful.
Michael, we just had a question from Kelsey McNeil asking, what titles should we be looking for on LinkedIn? What titles of the audience?
Yes. So I think that when it comes to ad agencies, I would probably, if you're a photographer, I would probably focus on the creative directors. But again, not a freelance one, not the junior one, associate creative director, probably assistant creative director also. So probably creative director, executive creative, ECD, executive creative director. If you're on the video side of things, so probably somebody like a head of production or a in-house producer. So you should be focusing on those titles. If you are trying for a brand, if we're talking about a brand just like Gucci or something like that, and you want to contact that company, then you may find again an in-house creative director and also the marketing team, in-house marketing team, but focus on the senior people in the marketing team. So marketing director and up, marketing director, head of marketing, vice president of marketing, chief marketing officer. Focus on those senior people, so that they're the ones making the decision, and they need to be seeing your name pop up.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's really good guidance. And when these are people are really busy, so they're being reached out to a lot. How many times should you follow up? So say you message them on LinkedIn. Would you also email them? Would you send them a social media message on Insta or Facebook? How else would you stay in touch with them, especially if they don't respond back?
Yep. So first I would start with an email. Then a couple of days later, I would send a LinkedIn message. Then then let's say like 4 days later, I will send another email. Then 4 days later, another email. So like once a week until you've reached about 4 or 5 touches total. Okay. And then after that, look, they've probably seen some of your outreach. So at that point, I would just leave them for a little bit, maybe leave them for like 3 months, 3 to 6 months, and then reach out to them again, because at that point, they will not remember you if you haven't had a conversation with them. So you can kind of keep recycling those people. But yeah, you have to do like 4 to 5 touches.
Got it. Okay. And when you email them, do you have any guidance on what you should say in an email to a decision maker?
Yes. So I would draft the email that has a few parts. So the first part should be a personalized part. So this should be you complimenting them on their work, or this should be you talking about how you have some relevant experience or something like that. And then the second part of the email, let's say second paragraph, should be a quick intro about yourself and why you're reaching out to them specifically and to their agency. There are some agencies out there that focus on a specific niche. So let's say if you're reaching out to an ad agency that mostly works with food clients, you should be talking about your experience in the food industry when you do your introduction. And then the third part is you just ask them if they would like to have a call or a conversation, or if they have any jobs that you could bid on potentially. So it's very simple email, and you want to keep it short. So you don't want to make it long, because with how many emails we're receiving right now, everybody, we just don't have an attention span anymore for long emails from people that we don't know. So keep it short, maybe keep it 2-3 paragraphs maximum, like 100 words, like maybe 150 words maximum, and just make it relevant to them. Why are you reaching out to them specifically? Is their agency working on any brands that you have relevant experience for? Like, that's an important part.
Awesome. Okay. And are you going to be now this day and age, of course, after COVID and everything, not everybody's in the office anymore, right? So are you trying to set up like a Zoom call with them, or a phone call or an in-person meeting, or what are you seeing as the most common?
Yes. So obviously, normally it's a Zoom call or a phone call with them. So Zoom is great. Now, if you are in their city and you can't pop by and you can't see them, I would mention that, because if you're traveling to set up meetings with ad agencies in New York, I would say that you will be in New York City on this day and this day, and see that, and you would love to see if you could pop by and talk to them and have a coffee, buy them a lunch, whatever it is. So it's relevant. basically. So either a Zoom call if you're not local to them, or if you are local or you're going to be in their area or their city, mention that. See if you can set up an in-person coffee or an in-person meeting.
Excellent. Excellent. So just based on what you just said, I literally just drafted kind of an example email. So I followed Michael's instructions, and he said, hey, keep it really short. Hey, we're going to attach maybe an image with impact. I usually just attach one picture, just an image with impact. And then I'm going to be showcasing, hey, John, so impressed at your creative vision on the Dior campaign. I just shot an editorial of parachutes over water that I wanted to share with you. Do you have a moment for a quick Zoom to go over some ideas for your next project? So something like this,
Yes.
it's short, it's sweet, it's being, positive about them personally, and then it's also has a call to action of, hey, do you have a moment to go on Zoom? Now, they're probably not going to respond. They probably will brush you off, and but now at least you may be on the radar. And if they do respond, now you've got a super hot lead.
Yeah, exactly. And while we keep this on, I just wanted to point out a few things, Kevin, that you did in this email that I really like. First of all, the image is great. So you should attach, like if you can include the image in the email, that's great. Now, one of the things I wanted to say is that you see how Kevin used their language in here? You see how he said, your creative vision on the campaign. I just shot an editorial with parachutes, da 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 da. This is the language that they use. So whenever he sends this, the chances of them replying are higher because he used the language that they use. Okay. If it was just so impressed at the work he did on the campaign or on the project, on the Dior campaign, yes, it was good, but it didn't hit as hard as it did when he said creative vision. Because this is what these people use. So you have to use their language. So very good example.
Excellent. Thank you, Michael. And I just took your guidance and I just created something based on everything you just said. Now, I recommend you guys craft emails like this. And I liked it. And what Michael said about keeping it short, I can't express enough to you how important that is, because I always see photographers, because I consult and mentor so many photographers, and they will send me some messaging before they send to a client. I see people write entire page length messages. They write paragraphs. And I can't tell you, like literally my signature is bigger than the message, right? So like, to me, that's really important. Keep it really short and sweet. The reason is, and in my experience, the more high up somebody is, like if they're a CEO or an executive, the shorter the shorter their emails are. So if you ever have communications with executives, and I do, CEOs usually, they don't even write full sentences. They're often going to write phrases, right? So the higher up they are, the shorter the messages they are. The lower they are, the longer the messages are, right? So if somebody does write you a long message back, it means that they're not of any significance. Okay. So because they have the time to do it. So what Michael's saying is keep it short, because they're not going to even read a page long thing. They aren't. And I'll be honest, even me at this point in my career, if somebody writes me like a 3-paragraph or 2-paragraph long message, I don't even read it. I don't have time to read it. Even myself, I don't. So I always recommend keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it to the point. Yeah. Now, Michael, I'd like you to disclose a little bit of your tactics now. So one of the things that I know Michael and I have done is we have incorporated Ulink and Sales Navigator. Now, so the email is a great starting point, because now you have a link to my website. And it has a link to multiple websites here that are showcasing my brand, right? So kevinschmitz.com, fashion photography, Atreyu.tv, that's my television shows, French Dream Gazzle, that's my castle, Atreyu Productions, my production company, and then my Instagram. And then I even have my IMDb. So if you want to see, the stuff that I do for television, you can look here and you can click on that. So if they want to know, oh, who is this Kevin Michael Schmitz guy that's emailing me? Now they can actually click on that and see, who this guy really is. And that way, to me, and I do have a lot of people do this. They'll look on my IMDb and then they'll be like, oh yeah, this guy, Kevin Michael Schmitz, oh yeah, he's a TV director. He's been in this TV show, blah, 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 right? So if you have anything that's related to a bio or something, that's also not a bad idea to put in your signature so that they can get to know who you are. So, oh yeah, like this guy is a director, actor, cinematographer. Okay, cool. So that adds a little bit of layer to the dynamic aspect of what he offers. So I've got that. But then if I've got LinkedIn profile, so I'm emailing them, I generally would like to call them. And of course, most of the time you're not going to get through. That's okay. But then on LinkedIn, I like to do a series of messaging. And Michael, can you do a kind of a step-by-step process of how you use Sales Navigator in LinkedIn? And which, by the way, guys, you can use regular LinkedIn, or if you want to pay, there's a premium version. And then there's like a super premium version called Sales Navigator. I personally do recommend it. It gives you a lot more advantages. And then there's also something called Ulink, which is like a back-end software that works with LinkedIn to basically mass communicate with a lot of people. So you could talk about that process a little bit, Michael.
Yes, 100%. So I definitely recommend Sales Navigator because it has an advanced search. So it actually helps you to find only the most relevant people. It allows you to filter out those junior people that you do not want because they don't make the decisions. So you may make a search where you're going to have people by the title. You can put in the title of creative director. You could put the advertising industry in there. You can select how big of an agency that you want. Okay, you can select only agencies that are large agencies from 100 employees and above. So you're only going to have top agencies out there, and you're going to filter them. You're going to filter the right people with Sales Navigator. Then you can exclude junior titles. So you can exclude junior creative director. You can exclude associate creative directors, because again, those people are probably not making decisions on who's going to be shooting the campaign. And then from there, you can even in Sales Navigator, you can save people. So let's say you find a lead and you go to Sales Navigator and you find somebody who's relevant, you can save them in there. So you keep their details in there. And then from there, you can, again, you can connect with them. You can send them a connection request. You can follow them. You can go and like them. Any messages that they have, any posts that they have, you can comment on them. Again, so they start seeing your name, guys. That's an important part. And then you can start messaging them from Sales Navigator as well. So basically, there you go. So you've looked up the people. You can put the company headcount. You can put the geography. This is an advanced search. It really helps you to filter out people that you don't want. And so you only leave people that you do want. There you go, senior app producers. And you can select the industry. You can select the geography. You can select the company headcount on the left-hand side here, so that you only find the relevant people. And then obviously, I always recommend, if you're just starting out, you should get Sales Navigator and you should start doing things manually. You should start messaging these people manually with the personalized messages, personalize the connection requests as well. Now, once you started doing this, or if you're seasoned and you need some help, there are some tools out there that you can get to help you message people, but you have to be careful with LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is notorious for, asking people to upload the IDs, like suspending accounts and stuff like that. So you should really be careful and make it a bit more personalized, rather than reaching out to thousands of accounts, like per day or something like that with the same message. So make it really relevant, make it really short. And again, starting out with Sales Navigator, I think it's great. You can save the relevant people, like you can see on the right-hand side, you can save them. And then on the top in leads section, you can look them up later. So you just come back and you have your leads saved there. And it's really easy for you to come back and continue.
Excellent. So say Rebecca McClellan here, senior integrated producer and art buyer. She's in the UK. I mean, this says she's a freelance though. So for me, it's still worth reaching out, but might not be a top prospect. Where as I look up here, head of art buying at BBDO, Aaron Breen, that might be a better opportunity, because that means art buying. By the way, what that means, guys, is they're the person who's hiring the production company and the photographers to shoot the campaigns. So they have a person that does that. Like literally, that's Aaron's job, is to find and talk to you, right? So they surprisingly aren't generally as hard to get a hold of as, say, a creative director who's just busy doing the creative on the campaign. I've experienced art buyers are actually easier to get a hold of, and they're actually the most relevant people, because at an ad agency, there's only usually anywhere from 1 to 3 art buyers at an ad agency. It's rare to have more than that. So it's not like you're contacting 50 people at that one agency. You might have one person, or in this Erin's case, she's the head of art buying, probably important. So if I was to, message Erin, what would I say? What should I say to Erin right now, Michael? If I'm going to message Erin, do you have some guidance on some, initial messages that I can write to her?
Yeah. Well, this is where the research comes in, right? So you would actually go to Erin and you would take a look if we can find the personal website or something, or if we can find anything on her profile that will actually like tell us what we can say, or what brand she's doing this for, or what team she's working in, that we can see. So we can see that. Let's see. So obviously Kevin has a ton of common connections with Erin, so he could just reach out to one of those connections and probably ask her, ask to be introduced or something like that. But if you didn't have those connections, like, make it personal. Like, you can see BBDO. So obviously this, you would probably want to mention something about her, right? And make it relevant. So you can see that Kevin's typing that he's an advertising photographer. So that's relevant to Aaron's role. So that's something that you would mention.
Because like literally her job is to communicate with advertising photographers and production companies. So, hey, I'm an advertising photographer that would love to connect with you about your upcoming projects. I think that's an okay thing to say to somebody like her, because, that's literally her job. If it's a creative director, might be craft that a little bit differently, based upon something more personal about them. But see, she's an art buyer. Generally, art buyers are not a lot of them don't have like a side gig. A lot of these creative directors do. They have this vision to be, they're an artist, or they're a director on the side, or whatever. And what Michael's saying is find something really personal about them. Erin, though, maybe you look her up on social media, and you find out about her family and where she lives. She lives in Chappaqua, New York, so it looks like she's in, was that upstate New York, and she's right outside of the city. She's an important person at BBDO. Maybe she even works remotely. Maybe she doesn't even work in the office, so that's also that to me tells me a little bit of something. But either way, say I don't know anything about Erin, what would be a good message for me to write to Erin, Michael?
Yeah. So obviously, look, I would probably, it would be a good point to start would be to research a little bit. Like, I would research a little bit about BBDO and like BBDO New York specifically. So I would probably type in BBDO New York, go to the website, and trying to see what campaigns that they're working on. And so that's what I would say. And then I would say something along the lines of, I would start with a personal part. So if I did go to BBDO's website, BBDO New York website, and I can see that they're working on some, let's say, fashion campaigns, we could start with something like, hi, Erin, notice that BBDO New York is working on a lot of fashion campaigns.
So it looks like right now they're working on FedEx, Diageo, which is alcoholic brands. So let's say Diageo, right? So I personally have I've shot for Diageo. I've shot for Smirnoff, and I've shot for other brands of theirs. So they also have Guinness, Drought, Red Stripe, Heart Blogger, etc. So maybe, if they're one of their big brands and she's the head of art buying, she probably handles Diageo, right? So now Michael just said, hey, do a little research. Just one quick search. It took 2 seconds, and now I know a little bit about them. This is great. And this is just on Google, right? So
exactly.
Now we know a little bit about them.
Exactly. And then you can craft a message that's specific to Erin. You can say, hey, Erin, are you doing art buying for FedEx or Diageo accounts?
Are you currently working on the art buying for Diageo or FedEx?
Yeah. I'm an advertising photographer and I'd love to connect. I have experience in the both of the spaces. Here's my website. Let me know. So very simple, but very specific, because you can see she will know. Because here's the thing, if we mention those brands to her, she knows that at least BBDO in New York City is working on those accounts. So she will say something. She will come back to you and she might come back to you and she'll say, oh no, I am working on Diageo. Yes. And then you can start a conversation with her. Keep it conversational. Okay. Or maybe she can come back to you and say, no, I'm not working on either of those, but I am working on, something else, Brown Forman, which is like another beverage conglomerate, basically. So keep it really specific. And that research that Kevin just did, this can be a difference between you having a reply from Aaron and not. So yeah.
So you see, and I'm even titling this Diageo, right? So that's one of the brands that they work on. Hey, are you currently working on the art buying for Diageo or FedEx? And if somebody on LinkedIn's messaged her about Diageo, she's probably going to look at it. Now, one of the reasons I love LinkedIn, Michael, is that everybody's on LinkedIn that's a professional, right? Unlike Facebook and Instagram, where it's about a lot of nobodies, it's a lot of just, vanity of people showcasing stuff about their day and whatever. And to me, LinkedIn, it's a professional network. And I find it really valuable because if we're going to communicate with somebody like Aaron, now it's a professional thing. Now we're having a communication on a really high level professional aspect. And I just messaged her something about a brand she works on. And this is a big person, by the way. This Aaron, this is not like some nobody. This is somebody that's handling $300,000 budget shoots, right? So I would love to shoot more $300,000, shoots with her ad agency. That'd be great. DDB, it's one of the biggest agencies in the world. Or I'm sorry, BBDO is the agency she works at. So she's at BBDO New York. That is a really vital. And I personally haven't shot with BBDO in New York. I'd love to. So now I'm starting that relationship. So this is something that, Michael, you have some really good guidance on that. And we're doing this through Sales Navigator. You could also do it through regular LinkedIn, but what's the difference there between regular LinkedIn and Sales Navigator with the communication?
I think it's just finding the right people. That's going to be an issue, is that finding people, because with Sales Navigator, it's really easy. You type in the company, you type in the location, you type in how big of the company that you want. You can select only companies between, like, let's say ad agencies between 50 and 10,000 people. So you're not going to have people that are just freelance. And then you can select, you can exclude junior titles, junior as a title. You can exclude freelance as a title. So you're not going to get any freelance people, which is great. You're not going to waste a bunch of time speaking with people that can never give you jobs, basically. So that's why I love Sales Navigator specifically. And it does come at a premium, but I think it's like $100 a month or something like that. So it is an investment, but you're investing basically into you being able to finding the right people so that you don't waste a bunch of time searching through people in the normal LinkedIn search, which they make really sort of a little bit confusing how they filter people there. This one with the premium version with Sales Navigator, you filter them out very easily and you only contact people that are the ones that are deciding who's going to be working on these jobs. So you'll save yourself a bunch of time if you just get Sales Navigator and you use their advanced search.
Got it. Okay. And I know you swear by that because we've worked with you for many years and you're all about the Sales Navigator and also Ulink. And then Ulink, tell us a little bit about how to integrate Ulink into LinkedIn marketing for our photographers.
Yeah. So I think, unfortunately, Ulink, I think is it's like a closed platform. So I'm not sure if they're taking on any more users, unfortunately, but Ulink is basically an automation platform. It helps you to send connections and messages to specific people automatically from your LinkedIn account. Again, you have to be really careful doing that. So you have to start slow and ramp up. And you have to have Sales Navigator if you use any sort of automation platforms, but you can look them up. There's another one, I think it's called Zopto, where you can automate email sending and LinkedIn messages. That is like an open platform, like anybody can sign up. As I said, unfortunately, Ulink, I think it's only, I'm not sure if they're taking on any more users at this point. They're like an underground platform, closed community sort of thing. There's another one, I think, called Zopto, where you can look up at other automations where you can basically just send messages. Another email sending and LinkedIn sending platform I would recommend is called smartlead.ai. So smart lead, LEAD.ai. It helps you to send personalized emails at scale. I think you can integrate LinkedIn in there as well. Another platform I would recommend is Lemlist. Actually, I would pick Lemlist before any other ones. Lemlist number one, Smart Lead, and then Zopto. So on Lemlist, you can actually use their platform to send emails at scale. You can use their platform to send personalized messages in scale on LinkedIn. And we've had people using it, and it's fine. Again, as long as you don't really reach out to more than 20 people a day in terms of like connection requests. That's what I recommend. So use Lemlist, and it's LEMLIST. You can look it up, and it has 1 million users. So yeah.
Well, Michael, this is really, really valuable. And by the way, guys, I'm launching a series of polls. I always like to hear surveys. I like to know your perspectives. We asked one earlier about how likely are you guys interested in attending one of these experiences. If you're interested in attending any of our workshops, we also not only do these in-person 5-day and 6-day, ultimate photographic, unbelievable in-person shooting experiences, but we also offer virtual workshops. Now, we have an advanced marketing workshop that is going to be live. We haven't done one of these in a long time, but we have one live coming up on November 11th, and it's going to be live. It's on a Saturday, so it's not during the regular during a weekday. It's on a Saturday. It's a 6-hour intensive, and it's going to be in depth about mastering your photographic marketing. So if you guys are interested, and if you like what we're here, what you're hearing today on some of these strategies, we're going to be talking also about AI and how to incorporate AI into all of your marketing, your messaging, your communication. And how to, using it to write scripts, using it to write communication to clientele. There's a lot of automation and a lot of new stuff that has come out since our last marketing workshop that we did initially a couple of years ago. So we're doing an advanced marketing workshop. And if those of you guys who have already watched or attended, because we have a ton of you guys on right now that have actually enrolled in the marketing workshop in the past, this is essentially marketing 2. It's the second segment to marketing. It's the next level. And because a lot of things have changed. A lot of things are changing every day, all the time in marketing, as Michael knows. And this is something, if you guys want to master that, not only will it be live access, but we're also going to go in depth. And I personally, myself and our illustrious panelists, our marketing experts, are going to give you real-time marketing strategies where you're going to be, not only a viewer, but also participating. So we can do real-time strategies for you and your marketing and automation for your photographic business. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know I've done a ton of these virtual workshops live. They're incredible. We've had such a massive interest in these. And the best part is you get to participate live so that you can actually develop your own marketing strategy with us live during the workshop. It's only $12.95 to attend. And it's an experience where if you guys can click on the link in the chat right now, and you can go ahead and enroll and save your spot. It's going to be November 11th. It's not even on our website yet, but it's an experience of a lifetime. And it's going to be, I can tell you what, the photographers that have attended our marketing workshop and have incorporated into their photography business have massively increased how much interest they've garnered, how much more opportunities that have come their way, and many of them have made significantly more money as a photographer because they get to master their marketing. And this is something that, I'm really passionate personally, and that's why, Michael and I are on right now kind of giving you some secret strategies. We're going to go far more in depth than just this initial webinar, but it's going to be a 6-hour intensive, and you get to participate live to master your photographic marketing. So go ahead and click on that link if you guys are interested and experiencing this. And the best part is, and the coolest thing is, not only is it a live workshop, but you'll also use it as a 100% credit towards any of our in-person 5-day photographic workshops or 6-day workshops, whether you want to use it towards the French Castle or whether you want to come to the Newport Beach lifestyle advertising photography workshop, which, in my opinion, of all the photographic workshops that we do, is probably one of the most commercially viable if you want to land big campaigns. Like if you wanted to, go after clientele like BBDO, shooting content like this at the Newport Beach lifestyle photography workshop and adding that to your commercial advertising portfolio would massively increase your brand and allow you more content to market. In fact, one of the reasons a lot of our photographers take a series, that's what we're called the photography workshop series, is that it's important to have fresh new content all the time. So Michael, I know when you're marketing for people, you're always needing more new content, right? And how important is it to add new, fresh content to the marketing messaging? Is that really important?
Yes, yes. And this goes back to the point that we made earlier, Kevin, is that there are so many really good photographers out there that that they're doing really good jobs, but they have outdated portfolios, and this is why they stop getting the opportunities, and they see that, and then they end up complaining that the new guy comes in and swoops them in. But the truth is, if they updated the portfolio, if they kept it up to date, if they didn't have those dated pieces in there from 6-10 years ago, whatever, they may get more opportunities. Things are always changing and you have to update your portfolio. So it's really important to do that.
And having content like this is more what I would consider commercially viable content that, we talked a little bit about shooting a fashion campaign, but if you're trying to shoot commercial lifestyle, having these slice of life images where it's happy, healthy people having fun, enjoying life, this is what they're looking for to shoot for Diageo. And I know because I've done it. I've shot for Diageo personally. I've shot an ad campaign for Smirnoff years ago, and it was something where they're specifically looking for commercial lifestyle advertising content, having fun. And think of any alcohol commercial you have. Diageo is all alcohol brands, right? So any alcohol brand that you have, if it's a Corona shoot or a Miller Lite or Smirnoff, they're always happy. They're always enjoying life, so having these type of fun experiences, this really gets people excited. So anyway, now Michael, oftentimes photographers always struggle with budget. Can you talk a little bit about what they should allocate for their photographic and video portfolio and reel, their budget for their portfolio, and also what they should allocate for their marketing? Because in my opinion, I personally spend about, $80,000 a year just on my own marketing, and I'm going to increase it pretty substantially this year with the French Castle, because that's a whole nother beast that I'm doing. But as far as developing my reel, developing my portfolio, and also the marketing, whether you're doing marketing ad spend, whether you're spending on LinkedIn, Ulink, using CRMs like Salesforce, or you're using email platforms like Constant Contact. Can you talk a little bit about what you would suggest a photographer spends for A, their portfolio, and B, their actual marketing budget as bare minimums?
Yeah, exactly. Look, at the end of the day, you have to remember that this is an investment you're making yourself in your business. So this is really important. So for marketing, you have to allocate a decent amount. So you have to allocate at least, if you can allocate 20 to 30K per year to get some help and get yourself started, that's great. If you can't allocate, if you can allocate less than that, that's okay, but you will have to do a lot yourself, because the more you can allocate, the more help you can get. For portfolio, it's crucial. So you really have to be allocating a good amount, and you have to be updating the portfolio consistently. So if you do, you have to do at least a couple of workshops in order to get your portfolio up to scratch. So realistically, your budget for portfolio should be, in tens of thousands per year, to generate content that these art buyers at huge agencies would want to see, so that you can land those jobs that Kevin talked about. Because if you do spend, let's say you spend 50K per year on marketing and portfolio, it is a sizable investment. It really is. But if you generate jobs, there are 300K jobs, and let's say you generate one or two of those, it's going to be worth it in the end. So you have to just remember that.
Absolutely. Now, I agree. And you know what, Michael? I mean, sometimes we spend a little bit more in the beginning rather than as time progresses too. So, you know, maybe it's a bigger investment up front. This is one of the reasons the photography workshop series is so powerful, because what we can do is we can create that 40 image cohesive body of work in 1 week, literally less than a week, in 5 days, that would take you a decade and hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce on your own. You know, and yeah, maybe it's an investment. You know, our 5-day workshops, they range from 16,500 up to 18K. But if you're to try to produce this on your own, you're talking the cost of the models, the cost of the hairstylist, the makeup artist, the catering, the locations, the permits, all the production expenses. It adds up. And the scale of what we shoot is equivalent of $100,000 a day production. So instead of spending out $500,000 on a production, if you can get the same production for 16,500, that's going to save you a massive amount of money. And that's one of the big benefits of why our photographers, that's why we have a 95% re-enrollment rate, is photographers come back year after year after year and take our workshops. Our average clients enroll in at least 3 workshops with us. And it's because they're so impressed and they realize the value of what they get out of it. But then once we have that body of work, we need to market it. So, Michael, what do you recommend once we have that portfolio that, say, we shoot at the photography workshop series, and say we're shooting a lifestyle portfolio, Newport Beach and Miami Beach, so February and April. Once we do that, what do you recommend as a great allocation of your marketing budget? Is it LinkedIn? Is it email messaging? Is it agency access? Like, what do you recommend is the best next step?
Definitely. So the next step, I would say that you might need to allocate some budget. I would recommend going on Upwork.com and getting somebody to help you to find emails and phone numbers of these people that you've put together a sheet of. So that will take a little bit of your budget. Then from there, you know, you should be spending on LinkedIn. I think, again, if you're in commercial space where you are selling to these people in companies, LinkedIn is a great you know, budget allocation. And probably you might want to get yourself some help, actually get somebody to help you to market yourself. So that's what I would recommend as well.
So, okay, so the very first step too, though, you mentioned maybe you should do some of the stuff yourself. What kind of stuff should they do themselves to save the money so they don't have to spend too much on their marketing plan and everything like that once they have their portfolio?
Yeah. So first, definitely, I mean, I don't think you can do it without the sales navigator. So definitely get the sales navigator, which again is not a huge investment. It's just a monthly offset. So get that and start putting together prospect list. So save the relevant people that you want to reach out to, make a list in LinkedIn, then copy that over, or like take screenshots of that, and then get somebody on Upwork.com, a lead generator, to put you a list of emails of those people and phone numbers, if they can get mobile numbers as well. There are some people out there that have access to tools that give them mobile numbers of these people, basically. Because again, privacy is not really a thing that exists anymore in the 21st century. So
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then you may have, and then you can either start messaging these people yourself, or you could get some help of somebody to start researching these prospects for you and allocate your budget towards, you know, somebody actually helping you to do some research and reach out to these people consistently. Because again, you have to remember, nothing is going to, you probably won't have a lot of success if you message like 10 people a week or something like that. It really has to be like 200 plus people a month that you message on a consistent basis with personalized messages and emails and phone calls. If you can call them as well, that's great.
Okay. And by the way, we have a great question from the great David Gaspreck, who, by the way, we are ogling at his beautiful images that we have on our website. And David is a world-class photographer in New York. I even had the opportunity. I was honored to work with him doing a one-on-one workshop where I produced for David an unbelievable production where we shot with in Newport Beach just a few months ago, and we created some unbelievable video content that was all about commercial lifestyle. So he's a world-class fashion photographer, but he also created some of this stuff. This is actually some of the amazing commercial lifestyle that I produced with David. David asks on the Q&A, thoughts on meeting creatives through NYC PhotoWorks. Now, David, I think that that's a good idea. I think that I like meeting as many creatives as possible. I would say that traditionally, I would say it's better if you go and meet with them at the ad agency in person. You bring some wine and cheese. You kind of do a little bit of wine and dining. I've been doing that for many, many years. By the way, this is just some unbelievable content we shot together in at that one-on-one experience, because we also offer one-on-one workshops, and I did that with David, and that was pretty incredible because David's attended literally just about every workshop we've ever done. So he's done the from Colorado up in the winter snow to Newport Beach to New York to the masterclass to Miami. He's done them all, and then we did something really special here. But so traditionally, David, I would say that generally it's good to do those events, but I would say it's always better in person if you can go to their office. The only thing is these days, a lot of them aren't in the office. They're all working remotely. So the chances of meeting them in their office is hard. So if you can meet them at PhotoWorks, I say do it. I say do it because it gives you some actual real-time FaceTime. I would say that those might even be more beneficial these days, the in-person meetings, because you can't go to the ad agency anymore. So I would say, yeah, I would. The only downside of that is so is everyone else. Everybody else is going to those events too. So it's not like you're the only one. It's going to be you and hundreds of other photographers that are meeting with them. So you do have to stand out. Now, to stand out, I recommend building an unbelievable body of work. And luckily, David Gesprecht has that. So David, I mean, you're an unbelievable fashion photographer and commercial lifestyle photographer. I would bring a fashion book and I would bring a lifestyle book. Fashion book, I would have it as 11 by 14 vertical. A lifestyle book, 11 by 14 horizontal. I would have a printed book of each. And depending on, you can choose who you meet with at those events, but depending on who you meet with, I would bring that book specific to what they're looking for. So if it's Diageo, for instance, I would bring, a lifestyle book, ideally with more of the alcohol brand type of campaigns, and especially bring an iPad with some of this video content. So the stuff that, we shot together, whether it's at the in-person workshops or whether it's at these, this one-on-one with you, this is really beautiful content. And, I would love to see something like this with Diageo, if they implement that California alcohol vibe kind of thing, or if you're going after any client that deals with like Quicksilver or Hurley or, Free People or any of those, that's fantastic. Or, if they have any consumer goods, like David specifically wanted to shoot with some brands that handle like coolers, ice coolers, Coleman grills, Coleman tents and things like that. So we incorporated those type of props into the shoot so that, I think we had like a Yeti cooler, having these props where, showing content like this directly to those brands. If you can find out which ad agency creatives handle that, I would try to meet with that creative at PhotoWorks and show them the photography and the video content that you shot, because that'll be really effective. So yeah, I would say go ahead and do that. I would say that these days, any type of FaceTime is great. And if you can't, guys, get on Zoom. Do everything you can to get on Zoom. I think this is one of the biggest challenges a lot of photographers make, is that they don't incorporate the power of this. We're on this webinar. You guys are looking at my face. You're getting to know me and Michael really well. And this is really valuable. If you could do this with a creative director, the chances of you booking that opportunity go up exponentially. So why not? Why not? Give that personal touch so that you can have that really in-depth experience. And then when you follow up with them with your work, you're going to be more and more likely to book the opportunity. So anyway, this is really, really, really great info. So guys, if you guys are interested in anything we're talking about, I put some links in the chat. And specifically, I would love to see you guys join us for our Photographic Advanced Marketing, basically Marketing 2. That's going to be on November 11th, Saturday, November 11th. We have that set up. There's the link in the chat right there. You can go ahead and click on that and enroll, and it counts as a 100% credit towards any of our 5-day workshops. Now, this is a live experience, so I want you guys to participate. I want you to be involved, and I want to help define and develop your photographic marketing strategy with you. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this epic advanced marketing mastermind. I think we got a lot of information out of this. And if you also want to incorporate and learn how to incorporate like ChatGPT and some of the AI into your marketing, we're going to go in depth about that at the advanced marketing mastermind workshop on November 11th as well. That's going to be really cool too. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to see you on. And if you want to set up a one-on-one strategy session with your photographic marketing, we are offering that with our photographic consultants where they can jump on personally with you and give you a one-on-one face-to-face Zoom where they can go over your brand, go over your marketing techniques, go over your strategies, and you can utilize my team for free to go ahead and master your marketing strategy. So click that link. There's also the link in the chat that you guys can click. It's the one to set up a Calendly, master your marketing. And so thanks so much, guys. I can't wait to see you. And